Hey, how you doing? It's Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 independent comics and pretty big Star Trek fan. What is this? Woke Star Trek attacked by who? Well, by William Shatner. It's absolutely true. Just the other day, he was at the San Diego Comic-Con and he made some comments. He does not seem to like the new Star Trek. Shouldn't have asked if you didn't want to know, right? So we're going to get into an article specifically from Breitbart talking about this, and it's a good article. So it's a great little summary, talks about what happened. Before we get into the article, definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. This way you know when new videos come out. William Shatner, Star Trek creator, of course Gene Roddenberry, would be turning over in his grave over woke current shows. Now, I don't know if he's talking about Strange New Worlds. That one's not that bad. I gotta be honest. To me, it's not that bad. Discovery, not so good. Not so good. Okay, and I will not watch Discovery, and I will not watch Picard. Tell me if you watch the current shows. Tell me if you watch Strange New Worlds in the comments, and tell me what you think. As it says in the article, during a far-ranging one-hour chat at San Diego Comic-Con Saturday, pop culture icon William Shatner insisted that the creator of the Star Trek universe would be extremely unhappy with the new Star Trek shows coming out of Paramount at Paramount Plus. Writer and producer Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek for NBC back in 1964 when he began filming the series' first pilot. The show was not picked up from that effort, but NBC did give Gene another chance and asked him to make a few changes and craft another pilot. You know, that pilot change was basically to make it less highfalutin, less into the science fantasy, and just make sure that you had a core foundation of a space western. Basically, like westerns were very popular, a lot of action, a lot going on, you know, classic western, but with a space fantasy background. They picked it up. They were happy to do it. Big financial risk for Desilu Productions, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's company, to make Star Trek. And it's amazing to look at Star Trek where it was and where it is now and how it's really changed the world. The second pilot, which brought on William Shatner as Captain Kirk, sold the series in 1966 and thus launched one of the most successful properties in Hollywood history, ranging from 1966 to today, as a long list of new shows have appeared in the last few years on Paramount streaming services. The Star Trek universe has run the gamut of forms of entertainment, from TV to movies to games, animated cartoons, books, magazines, everything. And we even did back in the day, one of my most successful series was our biography series on Star Trek cast members. We did the original crew. We did Next Generation crew. We did about 25 of those comics, but they would sell every month. Everybody always wanted those. But as far as the 91-year-old Shatner is concerned, and this is what happens, by the way, you get to be like a little older in the years, you kind of don't care what people think, you know. I could care less. Shatner could care even less. Because you know who you are. You know what you've done. And Shatner's like, good. You're going to ask me? I'm going to tell you. Shatner's concerned Gene Roddenberry would not be that all enthused by all these new Star Trek shows, according to the quote from The Hollywood Reporter. During a one-hour chat, which ranged from fun topics to serious topics, and with copious amounts of foul language from both Bill and his host, Clerks director Kevin Smith, Shatner was asked if he thinks any of the new Star Trek shows rival his own three seasons from 1966 to 1968. Kevin Smith has totally become a sellout. He will praise anything for the corporations. He damn well knows that Shatner is not behind any of the woke Star Trek stuff. A good question would be like, what's your take on Strange New Worlds, the new series? That would be interesting to hear, because that one, you know, for me, it's not half bad. Shatner was flat on the question. None of them, he currently replied. But it wasn't a reply merely out of ego. Shatner added that he thinks Roddenberry would also agree. Quote, I got to know Gene Roddenberry in 3 years fairly well, Bill said. He'd be turning in his grave at some of this stuff. You know, Shatner, he wasn't the only cast member, of course, of Star Trek. There were many interesting cast members, and how they played off of each other. Nimoy and as Spock, obviously, and the Doctor. The interaction was really, really cool, and you needed those different personalities, and you needed somebody who was the aggressive, like girl-kissing leader that Shatner was as Captain Kirk. But you just to disassociate Captain Kirk from Star Trek and say like, well, what is the series? It's I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I don't see how you can launch Star Trek the way they did, especially with having the mandate of being, in basically a space western, and like, well, who's the guy who's going to be the cool leader of all of that? Who's the head that's going to be in charge of all that? I mean, it's either got to be Shatner or it's got to be somebody like Shatner, which makes the casting of a new Kirk in this new Star Trek universe redo at Paramount Plus. Maybe that's one of the things that's pissing him off. That Kirk it's not a good casting in my opinion. Indeed, it was well known inside Star Trek that modern producers of the various shows, including Star Trek Next Generation, couldn't wait for Roddenberry to be out of the picture. Roddenberry kept a tight grip on his vision of Star Trek, and his fellow producers felt he restricted their creative process too much with his highly specific ideas about the sort of future his show would portray. Well, Roddenberry apparently was difficult to work with for a variety of reasons. He didn't necessarily even have all the skills that he required to do what he was trying to pull off and do. So he did bump heads with a lot of people. But in addition to that, he did have a vision of, hey, I may not know how to do this, but I know how I want this to come out and be at the end. That as a creative person, as somebody like that puts things together, publishing comics, whatnot, there are a lot of things I don't know how to do that, in collaboration with other people, when it really works, you come out with something great. But sometimes, it doesn't work out right and you don't get what you want. It can be frustrating, but nobody doubts that Roddenberry started it all and that he should have a huge say. When Roddenberry died in 1991, that finally gave the producers of the shows, including Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, the chance to take Star Trek into areas that Gene would never have allowed when he was alive in control of the Star Trek universe. Really, in what way? Even with today's new shows, the episodes are spinning off into areas that Gene would have never allowed. Star Trek star and TV director Jonathan Frakes recently acknowledged this when talking about the episodes of Picard that Frakes had directed. Frakes notes that an episode which portrayed conflict between two of the show's crew members would never have happened when Gene was alive. Quote, "We never could have done a scene like this on our show," Frakes told The Hollywood Reporter in 2020. Why, the reporter asked. He explained, Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, believed that in Star Trek The Next Generation's 24th century, there would be no conflict among the family, the crew of the Enterprise. That's interesting. Indeed, this year's season of Picard showed the United States in 2024 and portrayed U.S. immigration officials as uncaring, evil authoritarians who would be part of what eventually leads Earth into a fascist dictatorship that reaches out into space and begins terrorizing all the aliens of the galaxy. I thought immigration agents worked inside of the domain of that, country, planet, whatever it would be. It doesn't seem to make sense that they'd be going off planet to harass aliens, but hey, maybe. I don't know. I really like the character of Jean-Luc Picard as well, like from back in the Next Generation days. The TV show, I'm not about the, you tell me if you like it, I'm not into the Picard show. Shatner is 100% correct, according to the writer. Trek creator Gene Roddenberry would not approve of all the new Star Trek shows. During the Comic-Con chat, Shatner also took a humorous jab at rival sci-fi universe Star Wars. When asked about the George Lucas sci-fi franchise, Bill jokingly replied, "Fuck Star Wars, but not Mark Hamill." And anybody would know Mark Hamill as an actor from back in the day, great. These days, I don't know, a little bit off the rails. Smith also asked Bill about his experience of actually going to space, and in 2021, Shatner was on Blue Origin, and he got to go into space, and he said he loved it. Tell me what you think about this. I mean, tell me what you think about this in the comments below. Do you like any of the new Star Trek shows? I mean, I've already told you, Star Trek Brave New Worlds. I wasn't going to watch it. My brother talked me into it. And I like a lot of the classic elements, the way they incorporate them into the aesthetics of the show. I'm a very big aesthetics person. So if you feel like Star Trek should have certain visual elements, story elements, music elements, settings, and things like that, they did take some of the best ideas from the original Star Trek and incorporate them into the current Star Trek. And as far as the wokeness in the current show, it's nowhere near as bad as Discovery. I mean, look, this lady, I'm sure, is a very nice lady. But look at her sitting. She's a captain of Discovery. I think this is from season 4, this picture they said. Her fists are clenched. She's not relaxed. She's not confident. She's not in control. That's not a commander. That's not a captain. No, it's a terrible casting move. Of course it doesn't matter what she looks like, or even really, frankly, how old she is. Or her hairstyle. That can be the hairstyle of a captain. Why not? I might even go for it. Tell me if you think I need haircuts like that, in a haircut like that, in the comments below. But that said, no. I mean, you can't. She looks out of place. Look how out of place she looks. And frankly, look at the set design here. I mean, this is supposed to be like her crib or something. This Star Trek has a brownish and reddish hue to it, this spaceship, because we're going to match our skin color to like the design of the ship. I mean, that doesn't make it. Does it make sense to you? Let me know what you think. But it doesn't make sense to me. This is a casting problem. You can cast people, and you can have an inclusive cast, do whatever you want to do. But if you have a captain, they should look like a captain. And people have to have prior roles, maybe personal experience, whatever it is, that allows them to accomplish that. I don't see it here. I don't see it in this person. And I'm sure this is one of the ones that Shatner would say, like, yeah, this is not something Roddenberry would approve of. All right, that's it for me for today. But I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.